The three-eyed child at the foot of my bed. Back when I was a kid, I slept in the attic room of my family's old farmhouse in Vermont. My parents called it the penthouse to make it sound less creepy, but it was really just a long, narrow room with slanted ceilings, drafty windows, and creaking wooden floors. At night, I could hear everything: mice in the walls, wind in the trees, footsteps on the stairs. And then one night, something new. I woke up with a start. It was that kind of waking where you don't know why, you just feel something's off. The air was heavy, thick like syrup. The room was dark, but I could still make out the shape of my desk, the bookshelf, the little rocking chair in the corner. And then I saw her, standing at the foot of my bed. Not moving, not breathing, just watching. She wore a white nightgown, dirty at the hem. Her long, black hair hung over her shoulders like dripping ink. Her arms hung limp at her sides. Her skin was pale, almost bluish. I remember whispering, "Mom?" She didn't answer. That's when I saw the third eye, right in the center of her forehead. It blinked, slow and deliberate. And then all three eyes closed at once. When I woke the next morning, I convinced myself it was a dream. Maybe a nightmare brought on by too many scary stories. I told no one. But that night, she came back. And the night after that. Always the same. Standing at the foot of the bed, eyes open wide, the third one blinking independently, as if it saw something else I couldn't. I stopped sleeping. My grades slipped. I grew withdrawn. My parents assumed it was growing pains. Maybe I was just sensitive. They didn't see her. Until the night my father stayed in my room. He thought I was just scared of the dark. So he brought a sleeping bag and said he'd camp on my floor for a night or two. That first night, I stayed awake, eyes locked on the foot of the bed, waiting, dreading. And then there she was, the third-eyed girl. I whispered, "Dad, she's here." He sat up slowly. "What do you mean, SH?" He stopped mid-sentence. I watched his face change, eyes wide, lips parted. He was staring directly at her. At it. Then he said softly, "She's not real." I grabbed his arm. "You see her, don't you?" He didn't answer, just stared. The girl didn't move. Her third eye blinked, faster now. Then she turned her head just slightly and looked directly at him. That was the last time my father ever stayed in my room. He never spoke about it again. But the next morning, I found him outside at dawn, lighting a cigarette with shaking hands. He hadn't smoked in years. Weeks passed. I tried sleeping with the light on. I tried music, sleeping pills, even moving my bed to different parts of the room. Nothing worked. She always found me. One night, I tried something else. I decided to talk to her. I sat up, heart racing, and whispered, "Why are you here?" She didn't respond. But her middle eye blinked slowly, like a camera shutter. And I swear, I saw something in it. A reflection, but not of me. It was another room, another bed, another child, a girl, crying. I blinked, and it was gone. Then, for the first time ever, she moved. She lifted one hand and pointed not at me, but at the wall. I followed her finger, and noticed something I'd never seen before. There were scratches on the wooden paneling behind my headboard. Small, uneven lines. Some curved, some straight. I turned on the bedside lamp. They were letters, etched deep into the wall in a child's messy handwriting. "Do not look at her too long." I froze. When I looked back, the girl was gone. I didn't sleep again for weeks. But what scared me most wasn't her appearances. It was the fact that I was starting to get used to her. Like she was a ghostly roommate, a nightly visitor I couldn't stop or understand. Until the dreams started. They were different. Realer. In the dreams, I was in a place that looked like my attic room, but wrong. Warped walls. No windows. Everything was soaked in a red hue, like light bleeding through flesh. And in the corner sat the three-eyed girl, whispering to herself in a language I didn't know. Over and over. Each night, she said more. Each night, the whispers grew louder. One night, I recognized a word. My name. Daniel. And then she said something else. "You look too long. Now she knows your face." I woke up screaming. My mother tried taking me to a therapist. I didn't tell him everything, just bits and pieces. He said it was a coping mechanism. Night terrors. Sleep paralysis. He gave me a journal. Said I should write down what I saw every night. It helps break the loop, he said. Makes the fear smaller. That night, I opened the journal and wrote everything I remembered. At the foot of my bed, the girl appeared again. This time, she wasn't standing. She was crawling. Slowly. Head tilted. The third eye blinked. Faster. Agitated. I closed the journal.
She stopped.
Then, for the first time, she spoke. A low whisper. Not childlike at all. More like something old and tired, pretending to be young. You wrote her name. I stared, paralyzed.
What?
She pointed to the journal again. Don't give her names. Names are doors. The third eye closed, then opened again, and this time it was crying. Thick black tears dripped down her face, smearing across her cheeks and gown like ink. Then she vanished. The next morning, I checked the journal. There was new writing inside. Not mine. Not in my handwriting. One sentence repeated over and over. She's waking up. That was the last night I ever slept in that room. My parents let me move into the guest bedroom downstairs. For a while, things were quiet. But deep down, I knew it wasn't over. I didn't see the girl for years. Not until 2 nights ago. I woke up at 3:11 a.m., heart pounding. And there she was, standing at the foot of my bed in my new apartment, 20 years later, unchanged. Older me, adult me, but the same girl, same third eye. And this time, she whispered one word. Run. The day after she returned, after I saw her again, full-grown and unchanged at the foot of my bed, I didn't go to work. I sat on the floor of my apartment in silence, staring at my front door, half expecting her to knock. She never had before. She didn't need to. She appeared. And that word she said, run. From what? From her? From what's behind her? From myself? It wasn't until I went to the bathroom to splash cold water on my face that I saw it. On the mirror. Not written in fog.
Etched. 3 lines.
Vertical. Slashed into the glass like claw marks. And in the space between them, the word. She's near. I hadn't told anyone about her since childhood. Not even my ex, Melissa, and we lived together for nearly 2 years.
She would have laughed.
Or worse, believed me, and seen her too. Because that's the thing. Once someone sees her, they keep seeing her. Like a shadow that follows your name around. That night, I sat on the edge of my bed, not sleeping, not blinking. I watched the foot of the bed, barely breathing, waiting for her to come back. But she didn't. Not then. Instead, something worse happened. The clock hit 3:11 a.m., that cursed hour, and the air changed. You don't need to see her to know she's coming. You feel it. The air grows colder but thicker, like it's filled with something not meant for lungs. And then a knock. At the wall. Not the door. Knock. 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 3 short raps from the inside of the wall, like someone trying to get out. I backed away, pressing myself against the far corner of the room. Another knock. This time from the closet. I hadn't opened that closet in months. I didn't need to. I kept nothing in there. Ever since I moved in, I always felt something was off about it. Too narrow. Too deep. Like it went somewhere it shouldn't. The knob turned slowly. Creaked open an inch. Then stopped. I approached, legs shaking, and pulled it open in one motion. It was empty. Except for a single object that hadn't been there before. The journal. The one from when I was a kid. From therapy. It sat on the floor of the closet like it had been waiting for me. I picked it up. Same blue cover. Same frayed corners. I flipped through the pages. All blank. Until the last one. One sentence written in that same unfamiliar, childlike scrawl. She follows the name. Don't speak it. Don't write it. And beneath it, smaller. You already did. I didn't remember writing her name. But maybe I had. Back then, in a moment of panic. Maybe that night she cried black tears. I wrote something without knowing. I searched every page. And there, near the middle, I found it, scribbled in a margin. Mira. The name came back like a whisper in the dark. That's what she'd called herself once. Years ago. In one of the dreams I thought I forgot. Mira. Her name. And now it was written.
Permanent.
I burned the journal, doused it in lighter fluid in the sink, and watched it curl into black ash. The air hissed as if something unseen recoiled in pain. But it wasn't enough. That night, she returned. This time, she wasn't at the foot of the bed. She was sitting in my desk chair, legs dangling, head tilted, all three eyes open, watching. I couldn't move. She opened her mouth, slow, deliberate. No sound came out, at first. Then, in a voice layered with others, some deep and ancient, some barely whispers. You gave me form again. I tried to speak.
Couldn't.
She stood. The lights flickered. The air began to hum with low static, like a television on mute, just behind your ears. She walked to the mirror and placed one pale hand on the glass. The mirror rippled, like water. Then she looked at me. All three eyes locked on mine. I don't crawl anymore, Daniel. She stepped into the mirror and vanished. The next day, I started digging. I called my childhood therapist. His number had been disconnected for years. I went to the library, to the archives, chasing any trace of folklore or urban legends around a third eye or a child ghost named Mira. Nothing direct, but I found pieces. Hints. There was an old case in 1965, a farmhouse fire near where I grew up.
The daughter was said to be strange.
Born with a deformity. Died in the fire. Some say her body was never found. Her name? Amira Wells. Age 8. Wore a white nightgown. There was no photo in the report. But I didn't need one. I knew who she was. She'd never left. The dreams changed again that night. Now I wasn't in the attic. I was in a narrow hallway, mirrors lining both sides. In every mirror, she stood. In every mirror, a slightly different version of her. One with no eyes. One with mouths instead. One taller. One skeletal. I ran. The mirrors began to crack behind me, one by one, each with a scream as it shattered. And at the end of the hall, a door, etched with the word, return. I reached for the handle and woke up in my bed, standing up, in front of my own mirror, hand on the glass, and written in fog, not etched this time. One eye sees dreams. One eye sees lies. The third eye sees you. For the next 3 nights, I didn't sleep. Not because I didn't try, but because she wouldn't let me. Every time I closed my eyes, I'd see that door from the hallway of mirrors. The one marked return. Every time I opened my eyes, I'd find myself standing at the closet, the mirror, the hallway outside my apartment door. Always mid-motion, always about to do something, but never remembering why. I started leaving notes for myself. Scribbled reminders taped to the wall. Don't open the door. Don't follow her. Don't say her name. But it didn't help. Because I wasn't the only one writing now. One morning I woke up to a message on my ceiling, scrawled in black ash. You're almost home. I tried to run. Packed a bag, drove out of the city. My destination didn't matter. I just needed to be anywhere else. I made it halfway across the state before the fog rolled in. Thick, unnatural, swallowing the road. Then the radio cut out.
Static.
Then a voice, not a DJ, not music, just a low whisper repeating over and over. She sees you. I slammed the brakes. When I looked out the windshield, I nearly screamed. The road had vanished. In its place stood the house I thought was long gone. My childhood home, a crumbling, fire-scarred, but unmistakable. And in the attic window, a silhouette.
A child.
Watching me. The third eye blinked. I stepped out of the car, drawn forward like I was sleepwalking. Everything in me screamed turn back, but my feet kept moving. The door creaked open before I touched it. Inside, the house was rotting. Mold, ash, broken wood. But familiar. I stepped through the hall, past old photographs I remembered from my childhood, but now their faces were blurred, melted, blackened. The air pulsed, as if the house itself was breathing. And from the staircase, a voice echoed. Not hers.
Mine.
You shouldn't have named her. I followed the voice to the attic stairs. Each step groaned under my weight. Dust fell like snow. At the top, the door was cracked open, flickering with light. I pushed it open and found myself inside. A version of me, younger, no more than 7, sitting on the floor, drawing in a journal. He looked up at me with wide eyes. She's mad. I knelt beside him. Who? He pointed behind me. I turned and saw the mirror, the same one from my dreams. Only this time it was cracked, and something moved inside it. She stepped through.
Mira.
But not the small, pale child anymore. This version was taller, her limbs too long, eyes sunken, skin stretched over bone. Her third eye blood black, dripping onto the floor in thick, tar-like drops. She smiled. Daniel, you brought yourself home. The room spun. I reached for the younger version of me, but he was gone, vanished like smoke. The attic faded, warped, melted away. Suddenly, I was back in the mirror hallway. This time, the mirrors didn't reflect me at all. They reflected her. Dozens of versions of Mira. All watching. All smiling. Each eye blinking out of sync like a chorus of camera shutters. The door at the end was closer now, still etched with return. But beneath it now, another word appeared. Stay. I turned around, and the hallway was gone. Only endless mirrors now, stretching in all directions. Every step I took was followed by the tap-tap-tap of fingers against glass. I tried smashing one. The glass cracked, but instead of breaking, it bled. Black, slow-moving blood oozed from the cracks. A whisper filled the space. One of us must stay. Suddenly, Mira was everywhere. In every mirror.
And in front of me.
She reached out and placed a cold hand on my chest. You looked too long. The third eye opened, and I saw something inside it. Not a pupil.
A door.
And through it, a room. My apartment. Empty. Waiting. She whispered. Let me take your place. You stay in the house of eyes. I shook my head.
No.
No way. But my feet wouldn't move. She leaned closer, her breath cold and thick, like fog inside my lungs. You dreamed of me.
You called me. You named me.
Now you belong to me. Then she opened her mouth wide, and the darkness inside pulled at me like a black hole. Everything stretched, warped, fell inward. I screamed. When I opened my eyes, I was back in my apartment. Alone. I ran to the mirror. My reflection stared back. Normal. Until I looked closely. Too closely. My third eye blinked. The morning light was blinding. I stood in the bathroom, gripping the edge of the sink with white knuckles, staring at my reflection. The mirror showed me, but I didn't feel like myself. And then it blinked. Not my eyes. The one in my forehead. It blinked once, slowly, like it had just woken up. And with it came a flood of sensation, like something ancient had just turned its gaze outward for the first time in decades. I stumbled back, shaking. It wasn't just a dream. It wasn't just a ghost. She gave me her sight. I tried everything, scrubbing my skin raw, avoiding mirrors, even wrapping a bandage around my forehead as if it could smother whatever was growing underneath. But the eye wasn't on my skin. It was beneath it.
Part of me now.
Watching from the inside. That night, my apartment changed. I heard whispers in the walls. Not in English. Not in any human tongue. But I understood them. Faint words, buried deep inside the noise. She is coming home. The lights dimmed. My reflection no longer copied my movements perfectly. I waved. It didn't. It just smiled.
Slowly.
Then it raised a hand and pointed behind me. I turned. She was back. Mira. Pale, floating inches above the ground, her 3 eyes burning like dying stars. This time, she wasn't here to threaten me. She was here to finish the exchange. You've seen too much, she whispered. Now you belong to the house. I shook my head. I destroyed it. I burned the journal. I rejected your name. She floated closer, her gown dragging behind her like ashen water. You can't unname what you invited in. You didn't destroy the house, Daniel. You rebuilt it. With memory. With fear. With every glance in the mirror. The eye on my forehead began to burn. I screamed, falling to the floor. The apartment split open. Not literally, but perception bent. Walls shifted like paper being peeled back. My living room twisted, stretching deep into impossible hallways. The kitchen cabinets blinked. The windows reflected rooms I'd never seen. And all of them had mirrors. All of them had her. I was inside the house of eyes again. But this time, it was my apartment. She reached out, offering her hand. Come willingly. I'll give you what you've been searching for. I laughed bitterly. And what's that? Peace. She shook her head. Truth. The eye opened again, wider now. My vision split in three. And for a moment I saw the attic. Not the one in my childhood home, but a version of it, deep and infinite. I saw myself, sitting in a mirror, watching someone else live my life. I saw Mira as a little girl, locked in a burning room, clawing at the glass, begging someone to remember her. And I saw hundreds, no, thousands of others. People who had stared too long, who had written the name, spoken it, thought it, all of them trapped. Not in hell, in memory. Because Mira was never a ghost. She was a construct, a sentient idea, a parasite born in stories, passed through bedtime whispers and scribbled notes. Once she was named, she was real. I staggered backward, away from her. There has to be a way out. Mira tilted her head. You want freedom? Then take my place. The walls shifted again, and I saw the child version of me, sitting alone, journal in his lap.
Crying.
She reached toward him. You called me. You loved the fear. You chose me. I remembered that night. I was lonely, angry. My parents were fighting again. I wrote in my journal. I wish something would come take me away from here. That was the first time I saw her. I had invited her in. Then I understood. There wasn't just one Mira. There were as many as there were stories told about her. She didn't steal people. She traded places. Every person she visits becomes her. Every eye opened adds another version to the house. And the only way to break it is to leave someone else in your place. I stood up, looked at her, at myself, at the endless versions trapped in glass. I'm not staying. She smiled, nodding, expecting me to run. But I didn't. I reached forward and touched the mirror. And I pulled. Not her.
Me.
I yanked my younger self out of the memory, out of the past, out of the moment I'd first called her name. He stumbled, eyes wide. What is this? I looked at him. It's a second chance. He screamed as the house folded inward, the mirrors cracking one by one. Mira shrieked, shriveling, the light in her third eye imploding into darkness. I woke up, back in my bed. Morning sun warmed my skin. The mirror was gone. Not broken.
Just gone.
The eye was gone too. No pain. No whispers. Only silence. I went to the bathroom. Washed my face. Looked in the mirror, just two eyes staring back. Normal. Except for the scar. A faint one. Right where the third eye used to be. Weeks passed. I started sleeping again. The dream stopped. The house never returned. But sometimes, in the corner of a stranger's mirror, I'll see something shift. A flicker of white cloth. A soft knock behind the glass. And a whisper, almost too faint to hear. You took her place.